Hi everyone, this is second video, or you mean to say the second part of the video relating with zone creation and delegating the zone. I think what we did last time in the last video is we created the zone in which known as creative.com, and we tested in command prompt. And as accordance to the case study or the diagram which we were discussing on last time, is let me go to the diagram to give you a good picture on this. So meaning we created creative.com in one server, and what we're going to do in this video is we're going to create another zone which is going to act like a subzone for this creative. So if you can see, this is same creative.com, but now we're going to add sales.creative things. So that means if any request come from the customer or from any other computers regarding looking for sales.creative.com, it will be coming to this server, but then it will be delegated to sales.creative.com, and this is how the load balancing will work. So let's see how we're going to create another zone, or in fact it's going to be a subzone for this zone in another server, which is going to be in this thing is going to be in, we have another server which is called server 2, if you can see this one. So in this the subzone which we are creating up, we can create in a server in which only DNS is required. We don't need to install ADDS or anything other services, just DNS is fine. So once you remember the DNS, make sure that you have, even if you have ADDS, there's not going to be a problem, but we just require DNS, and you don't have to do anything. And what we just gave them an address 192.168.1.153 according to what we have planned here. So yes, let's go with it. We are going to create sales.creative.com because we have created creative.com, and now we're going to create subzone as sales.creative.com. And in a similar way, you will be creating marketing.creative.com in another server, but we're not going to show you in this video because if you know how to create one main creative zone, and then you know how to create one subzone, and you know how to delegate it, the same way you're going to do for the other offices. So I'm not going to show you for this part, but I'm going to show you for this one because the same thing need to be done in this one. So let's show you how you create sales.creative.com in another server. So here we have another server, and just remember the address, the name of the server is server 2, and the IP address is 192.168.1.253, and DNS role is being added up. So let's show you how you're going to make a zone. So you go to start, administrative tools. Now you can start your server manager, or in fact we're going to deal with DNS, so let's open specifically only DNS. So once you go in DNS, expand the server, you come up in the forward zone, expand the forward zone, and you see there is no zone there. So we are going to create zone called sales.creative.com. So in forward zone, right click, say new zone, and as usual go to next. We're going to create a primary zone, though it's a sub zone, but it's going to be a primary zone here. Okay, so next, and we're going to give here the zone name as, for example, as sales.creative.com. Okay, let me have a look actually what was it in sales.creative.com. okay, so we're going to give sales.creative.com. so okay, so we've done it, so go for next. Okay, and you see that you're not going to get similar look of what you did in the other server, because other server had ADDS integrated with DNS. So this generally they store all these things in creation in along with ADDS, but here like they're creating and storing it in like a separate file here. So next, and again you don't have any ADDS integrated with it, so they won't allow you any secure dynamic updates. But if you have ADDS integrated, they will allow you for secure updates. But nothing to worry about it, because you know that this is just a DNS. So you go for do not allow dynamic updates. Next, finish, and we got another one called sales.creative.com. Now we need to create two things. As visually, you know, when you come in this one, so right click on this area, you need to create new host. So leave it the name blank if you don't know the parent name, but if you know that, of course you have to give an IP address, which we already said 192.168.1.253. as we already showed you in initial configuration window that we have given IP address 1.253, so that whatever is your IP address you have given to this server, that IP address has to be here. You just say add host, and this shows you that it has been successfully created. So say OK, done, and don't forget you need to create alias or alias, whatever you say for this. So you go this, and here you just have to type www. Okay, and in order to get a full qualified name, it's better, I'll prefer you to go with like this way: browse, go to the server, go to the forward zone, okay, then go to the zone which you created, and then you see the host which you have created. So select the host and say OK, and so you can see that like the fully qualified name has come up. So you could have given it directly, but I prefer you to go with that way. So say OK, and this is being done. So now you have created a, you can say, a subzone with respect to this, but is actually a primary zone for this server. So let's test this again as what we did in last video. Go to start, command prompt, and ping www.salescreative.com, and you see the response is coming up, which gives indication that is working. So well, we have if you see it, so that means we have created one zone, creative.com, in the main server, okay, and we have created another subzone, sales.creative.primary. in another server. And now what we're going to do is, now we're going to delegate, okay, this zone from this server. So meaning if any response comes for sales.creative.com, that means this server is going to delegate it to this server. So how would you do that? Do the delegation is, you need to come to the main server. Okay, so once you come into the main server, you need to go into DNS manager. If you have closed it by for any chance, what you need to do is either you go to server manager, or you go to start, administrative tools, and you can open a DNS from here. So you know that you have created a DNS, and in the other machine you have created sales.creative.com. so you want to delegate that zone under this creative.com. so what you need to do is come on creative, okay, or you can expand it from here and come on creative here, and then on creative you need to right click and you say new delegation. Okay, so once you click on this, remember sometimes that new delegation will not come up if you have not clicked on it. So click on it, right click, and just say new delegations, new, next, and they're asking you what is the delegated zone, meaning you want to delegate to that another one which is sales.creative.com. so they're asking you, tell me the delegated domain. So note here, what is that? You are going to delegate the other one from creative.com. so creative.com is already here, if you see it. So you just need to give only sales, that's it. So if you give sales, it comes to sales.creative.com. Okay, so save, go for next, and they're asking you, give me the fully qualified name of the server, the delegated, mean the one which you want to delegate, meaning the one where you have sales.creative.com, meaning in this one. So what you do is click on add, and they're asking you the server name. So I'll prefer you not to do anything here. First come and give the IP address of the other server, so which is 192.168.1.253. remember, not the IP address of the main server, the secondary server. You need to give an IP address, and after entering it, press enter. And if you see a green tick here, that means is they have understood that server, or they have got the link somehow, and you don't need to worry about it. And then you can give a name of the server. So the name of the server, not this one, okay, this is just the virtual box name is given server 2. You go to initial configuration window, and if you by chance if you have closed it, you can go in start and you can type here OOBE, okay, and click here, so this window will come back. So if you see here, you can check it what is the IP address. So that's what what is the server. The server name inside also is given server 2, so you can give a name as server 2, okay, and then you can say okay. Once you say okay, so no need of clicking resolve there at the corner which was there. So say next and just say finish. So meaning now under creative, sales.creative.com is being delegated. So now how would you check that is working? So there's two ways to check. One way is you can check from the main server, okay, and another way is we can check from the client. So let's show you from client now. So in client, go to CMD, and then first try to ping the main zone, which is your from the main server. And you know the IP address for this I have given is, if you see in this one, the main server has address 254. So note it, where you have created creative.com zone. I have another server which address is 253, and I've created a zone called, you remember what we created? We created sales.creative.com. So let's come to your client and let's try to ping both of it, and let's see what comes up. So we're going to ping the main server, we're going to create the main zone which is in the main server. So ping creative.com, and you see the response is coming up, meaning, but note the point from where the response is coming up. It's coming from the response of 254, meaning it's coming from the main server. Okay, so let's ping the another subzone which you have. So we can say sales creative.com, and you see, the request timeout is coming up. We can guess why it's coming up, but you see the IP address from where it's coming up. It's coming from 253. Now the reason you're getting a request timeout, meaning two things: either the subzone is not working, or the server is not allowing the request to come in. That means they are trying to defend any incoming request. Now one thing we are sure that sales.creative.com, the one which we created, is definitely working, because in that we have already checked it by pinging in that same server, so it's working. So it is definitely that request timeout coming up. It means the request is going to server 2, but the server 2 is declining, or meaning is throwing or rejecting that request. So it means that is something to do with firewall. So what you're going to do is, for testing purpose, let's change the firewall connection. So let's go to start, type firewall, click with the advanced security one, and since the request is going to come in, so it's going to be inbound rules. say new rules. Let's for a moment we want to check, so let's make a custom rule and then go for next and say allow all programs. Now we can definitely allow, we can make it some specific to some programs here, but like let's for this is just a testing, so make it all programs. Normally you're not going to do in a real world life, you have to be specific to some kind of programs here, some kind of port number. So let's go with next, and here you're saying the protocol, which protocol you're working. So for example, we only want to allow like ping, which is the protocol which is based on ICMP. So it's up to you which protocol. So let's say for example you can do anything, but let me keep it easy right now, for make it any. Say next, which computer, okay, IP address does this rule match? So you can keep IP address, the computer which they want to connect. So here is all about matching. So let's, for time being, just for testing, make it totally open. Next, allow the connection. Say next, leave as it is, and give your name of this rule. So let's say for example for temporary, I am just going to make a rule called sorry. So I'm going to make it as my rule. You can give some descriptions. So just to make a note that, yeah, this is my rule, and just say finish. So you can see your rule is bit running now. So once this has been done, so I think now it's not going to restrict anything. So let's come back to your client and let's try again that ping command back. So if I say sales.creative.com, if you see it, and yes, the response is coming now. So I think definitely that was for firewall. And you can see now the response is coming from 253. That means your response from client, this client is actually is connected to the domain in the main server. So the response is going into the main server, and then it going into, so they're thinking, oh, sales.creative.com is delegated to another server, is somewhere on this server. So they're going to delegate it to this server, and then this server is responding back to the client by the address 253. So it's something like, if I can explain you in this one, like if a client is sending a request, so the client is the one client which I showed you is connected to this server. So all the response is going to come here, and the moment they see, okay, the response is for sales.com, so they're going to send, or they're going to delegate that part on to this zone, and then this is going to respond back to the client. So this is all about creating and delegating zone for this, and that complete the session for creating and delegating zone. And I've showed you for joining one main head office to another branch office, and in a similar way you can do for another branch office. Thank you for watching.